off week and film of the first 4 games. What were the biggest points of emphasis from the coaching staff and areas you guys had to improve moving forward?
Yeah, I think together, we just need to play better together and, just execute better. I think that's just all the way across the board. Just need to execute better, play together, and just, move forward from there.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, Austin, obviously got in there at the tackle position against UCF. You were kind of working your way back. Can you talk to us a little bit about just what it was like, getting back to healthy, getting back to, obviously playing, status going into that UCF game?
Yeah, I'd say Moses and the trainers did a good job getting me back to where I am right now. Those few weeks I was off, just make sure I'm staying in shape and staying in football shape, which is different than just running. I think they did a really good job of keeping me, ready to go whenever my number was called.
And then the week going into that game, I guess at what point during the week, let's say, I don't know, a Monday or a Tuesday, like what point during the week did you kind of feel you'd kind of be good to go for that game?
Honestly, I felt like I was good to go the whole week. I was just, whenever coach told me to go, I was ready to go, and that's what happened. So,
Michael?
Hey, Austin, Michael Coach, WCHL, ChapelGo.com. With the timing of this first bye week, sort of splitting the non-conference and the conference schedule, are you looking at this as a reset into a new mini season, I guess?
Yes and no. I think right now we're just taking it, 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 practice at a time. But I think it did allow some guys to, reset, and guys that have been hurt get healthy. So I would definitely say it's yes and no. It was a reset week.
No?
No, West Coast Chargers working for 7. Belichick called it awesome to have you back on the field and just your ability to play all 5 positions. How much confidence does it give you that you can play all 5 positions, and how weird is it, I guess, to not know necessarily, like, okay, I might go into the game at left tackle, but I might have to go switch. If someone else goes down, I might have to switch to right guard. How nice is it for you to be able to have that confidence in yourself?
Yeah, I think it's awesome just, knowing how to play all 5 positions. Because, you never know when someone's going to go down. So, having that ability to slide over and be, one of those best 5 that are out there, the best 5 combination that we have to be out there. I think it really, it makes me feel good being able to do that, just to know I can step in if anybody gets injured or, it just needs to be a switch. And I think that, that's big time.
Shelby?
First of all, just glad that you're back playing and everything. Congrats. I'm curious just if you could kind of confirm or explain like what exactly happened in training camp when you went down. My understanding it was like a non-contact foot injury.
Yeah, I just stepped wrong on it. Nothing crazy, just stepped wrong and just had to get, be out for a little while, and it is what it is. But I'm glad to be back here now.
Yeah, and just how are you feeling, and what's been the process like for you in terms of kind of getting back integrated and albeit in a different position you were playing?
Yeah, I feel great. Like I said, I think Moses did a good job, and I was swimming every day when I couldn't run, so that was quite interesting. But I've accepted the challenge of playing a different position. I've done it the whole time during my college tenure, and I think it's a good time playing some tackle too. Get to go out there and have some fun with some speed. So yeah.
Let's go to Katie.
Case Shoemaker in South Carolina. Bill kind of talked about how hard it was to get this line consistent with all the injuries early in the season. From your experience, how do you kind of create chemistry when you've got different guys, different positions every week, and is there a way that you guys can kind of gel moving forward?
I would just say it's as simple as just getting to know the guy next to you. We try to start doing some O-line there and stuff just to, get to know everybody better and get to gel together, because it is important on the field, but it's also as important off the field too, to why the guy next to you is playing and why you're doing it, vice versa, just because it makes you play that much harder.
So Adam,
Austin, you're talking about dealing with some speed. Like, what was it like in terms of a crash course, getting back out there on the edge when you've been playing inside for the last couple of years? I guess it was, what was it, national championship game you last played tackle? And I think just like I used the word crash course. Was that what it was the other day down at South Florida?
Kind of sorts, but I go out there with a lot of confidence to know that I'm athletic enough to play a tackle position. So, and I've done this for so many years, high school, previously where I was. So I think that, I wouldn't say it was a crash course, but it was just kind of knocking the rust off, getting used to playing tackle, and it took me, say just a few reps and I'm ready to go. So.
Did you, when you went back and looked at the film, did you feel like how did you grade yourself out for the first game back?
I'd say I'm definitely my hardest critic, and I'm always gonna say I could play better, but I think I could play better. Just me being my hardest critic, but yeah.
AJ?
2-part question for you. One, obviously Chad played pretty well because you were a center, and that allowed for some flexibility for you to move out. So what has Chad done to keep that job? And also the second part is, when did you start maybe mentally preparing for the idea that you were going to play outside on the edge of tackle and maybe not go back inside?
Yeah, I think Chad's did a good job. Me and Chad have had almost a 6-year relationship. We were roommates at Georgia together ever since freshman year. But I think he's done a great job communicating and just playing hard, and, being that anchor for us at center, just being a great leader and, just telling the guys what to do, what not to do. And I think he's done a great job. And then, I didn't know when I was going to play tackle, but I just know that any time when the number's called, you just have to be ready. So I didn't know when. I just went out there and just did what I was told to play tackle, so that's how it went.
Grant?
Hey Austin, just talking about your rehab, you mentioned you did a lot of swimming. How does swimming help with your mobility and strength compared to other rehab exercises?
I'd say it definitely strengthened the shoulders, but I did it more for the conditioning aspect, because obviously I couldn't run, but I think swimming, I was doing, 100 meters of breaststroke for freestyle, and I would go to about 1,000 yards a day. And, don't get me wrong, it was a shoulder workout, but it was more for keeping my lungs in a good spot and making sure I was in good shape. But yeah, it was a great workout though.
2 more right here, Ryan and then Shelby.
Also, the offense obviously hasn't been up to what you guys, I think, would like it to be. Watching from the outside and then being part of it, what are you seeing that maybe isn't going the way you guys need it to go to be as productive offensively as you want?
Yeah, I think right now we just need to execute better, play better as a whole unit. And that starts with me, that starts with everybody across that line. Just everybody in general. I just think we need to play better as a whole unit, as an offense. That's all I guess. I just think overall we just need to play better, execute, and just go out and run plays that are called, and just execute the best of our ability. That's what we need to do.
Shelby, with the I'm curious, just you kind of were touching on it with you and Chad, like your relationship there. Obviously, with you being out, were there any bits of advice or maybe like feedback that you gave to Chad when he was kind of trying to learn the center position?
Yeah, I was just telling him, you're the guy in the middle. You have to run the show every play. Center's a lot different than guard and tackle, where you have to talk a lot more. Maybe it might not be as physically hard, but it's a lot more talking, a lot more communication. You have to be the anchor and leader of that line. And I just told him to go out there and lose confidence. The guys around you have confidence, and I think he's done a great job of that.
Perfect. Good stuff, everybody. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.